Hi, this is Ginger Cook, and today I'm doing a collaboration with my daughter, Cinnamon Cooney, the art Sherpa. She and I are both doing something on paper with watercolor effects. I think she may be using watercolor. I'm going to be using acrylics and show you how to get a combination of acrylics and watercolor. We both thought we'd release these this morning. I will put an iCard in to link to her. But what happened was there was a death in the family over the weekend, and I felt like I wanted to do something personal for my half-sister who had passed away from my brother-in-law. And she was 94 when she died, and I thought, you know what, I need to do something more than just buy a Hallmark card and send to him because, you know, we're close family. So what I thought I would do is I had in the cupboard, I'd never even opened these. These are some Strathmore 10 blank cards. They normally just go in your, they come with envelopes, and they normally just go in your computer. And you could have any kind of image like this, and any kind of image that you have on your computer, it would print on there. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something a little more personal. I wanted to hand paint it. So I'm going to show you how I did it first, and it didn't work out. And I'm going to show you my solution to make it work better. This is my final one. I took a little pen and signed it with Love, Ginger Cook, because I wanted to have it. But I also will go ahead and varnish this. I didn't want to varnish it now because that will cause a glare, but when this really dries, I'll varnish this one more time with acrylic gloss medium and varnish. I'll give it another coat. This will be frameable. I will put this in the printer, and I will print, with great sympathy, your sister-in-law, Ginger Cook. Then I will write a personal note in here. I'll do that on the computer later after this has had a good time to dry. But you'll notice that this didn't curl up or anything, which is really good. And I've got some tips I'm going to show you. So follow along with me, will you? And won't you? And I'm going to also show you where I got it from. If you want to try this larger, here's this was from one of our old dead artist friends. I think this one, can't remember who, but I guess if you ask me later in the comments, I'll try to remember and tell you. Or maybe I'll put it down in the beginning, in the introduction, because I'd have to go look up where I found this. A lot of times I find these pictures. And so this would be pretty anyway, large. But I thought it really was ideal for something like this, because you don't want to overwork a card like this. You want to get in and out and do it. And again, we just used a few colors. We just used ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, cad yellow, medium, titanium white, and a little alizarin crimson, and dazzling purple. Those were our colors. And I signed it with one of these watercolor pens, and I would recommend not doing that. Find a better pen. I wasn't totally happy with that, but I did it, so there it is. Anyway, follow along, and I think, again, check out what Cinnamon's doing, too. And, happy Wednesday. This is something people have asked about, and so we're going to go ahead and show you how to paint a sympathy card using watercolor and acrylic effects. Hi, this is Ginger Cook, and it's come to my attention that people have asked me, sometimes people said, what about painting on paper? What's the difference when you paint on paper? And how can I get a watercolor effect with acrylics? Can I combine them? What can I do? So I thought I'd cover today just something about that. These are little inkjet cards. They come with they're like a little note card. You could then turn around. I hand painted this, and then you could then put it in your printer and, type in happy birthday or whatever you wanted. Make your own note cards, which is kind of nice. Also, you could just, scan in a picture and print it on the top of here too. So then, but sometimes you want to do something kind of nice for something, because someone that might be frameable, so you want to do that. So how would you do that? Well, the one thing I discovered when I was using these cards to paint on paper, it's acid-free, is that wasn't that it wanted to buckle, but it seemed like the paint wanted to drag. All right, so that didn't make me very happy. So what I did was I took this next one. This is a gloss medium and varnish, and I gave it a thin coat of this, no water on the brush, just coated this card. Now if I go to paint this in, I'm going to show you, now if I go to paint this in, it's going to be much easier, and I'm just going to start out, all right, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. I'm going to take let me just show you, first off, let me show you the painting I took it from, which I think is very pretty, don't you think so? And it has sort of a watercolor effect. You zoom back out. Zoomy, 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 zoomy. See? that's what I took it from. And of course we could make this bigger, all right? This was pretty simple, I thought, but I like this sort of watercolor effect to it. So what I did was I'm going to just come on up here. I think we're going to talk about maybe 1.25 inches, and I'm going to take some pencil. I'm just going to draw a line across here like this on the paper, and then I want to come this way from the corner, not quite the corner, just almost the corner, and do this. Okay, so just not quite the corner of my picture. Okay, and then I want to come using this T-square. I want to come over about probably let's see, maybe 2 inches from here. About like there, and it'll go straight up and down with a line. I'm using pencil. Normally I'd tell you not to, but I want the pencil to show through because I want a watercolor effect. So I want the pencil to show through. So I'm going to draw a line like that. Okay? And then up here, about 3/4 of the way, probably about 1.5 inches down from the top, I've got a straight line going across here. So I'm going to put a little mark. I'm using a triangle. So once you line it up on one line, then you're pretty, as long as the line you're lining it up on is straight, you're in good shape, okay? So I'm going to just come down here like that, draw a line across here, and come down, I don't know, about 1/4 inch, like that. Maybe, what is that? Is that 1/4 inch? It's close, almost 1/2 inch, isn't it? All right, like that, and make a little line like that. And I want to come over here a little bit lower now on this side, just slightly lower than that, and do a little short one, about the same width. Okay, like that, not go very far. All right, now we're in good shape. Now I want to come here and draw my vase. So I'm just going to say I have a vase that's coming up like this, and I'm just drawing right over the medium that's on this paper, and then I'm going to say it's got a little bottom to it. And the vase is just going to stop about here. All right, so here's my vase. It's pretty easy. It's about not quite 1 inch wide, just slightly under 1 inch wide. Pretty simple. I know it's a little hard to see, but there we go. So that's, I want some light lines in here. All right, and then up here I've got I know I've got a little flower above here, but let's just do the background in. And here's some paint I started with. We're going to start again. This is getting kind of old, so I'll throw that away. Start with some new paint. Okay? And here we go. We're just going to take a little bit of, now if you want a watercolor effect, you really don't want to start off using white. You want to use the paper as sort of the as the white. That's the difference. But you can use both. You can get that effect, okay? Here's some ultramarine blue, some phthalo blue, a little bit of white. Probably want some dazzling purple, like that. Let's see, a little dazzling purple. Like, ooh, I got that all over my finger. Do you love it? Well, back to my finger painting days. Ooh, got to get that off. Yuck. Ah, need a rag. Okay. All right, now I've got a purple fingernail. Love it. All right. So, all right, let's just start with that first. And let's take a soft, small soft brush, a little bright brush like this. And I'm going to wet the brush. And my paper I'm going to put a little water on my paper like this. Now I've got a pretty good barrier, so my paper shouldn't wrinkle because I put this varnish on it. I'm going to take a little bit of the phthalo blue. And you see how this wants to just sort of melt on the paper. I mean, I don't know if melt's the right word. Diffuse, that's the word I'm looking for. It's going to diffuse on the paper like that. And you don't want to use too much water, but there it is. Now, and I'll try a little tiny bit of ultramarine blue with that too. Just put a drop or two of that, kind of like this. Now, if you get too much, what you can do is you can kind of blot it up, maybe like that, if you wanted, because I don't want too much pigment at first. Now, what I found with this first one was that I thought I had some pretty good color, but then what happened was I'm going to come under here and do the same thing. I'm going to come right under here, just bring some of this paint down here. And it does have this sort of fascinating little watercolor effect. Now, this is good. Don't spend a lot of time, if you're going to do something like this, try to do it fairly quickly. Now, one thing, there was a little bit of purple under here. There was quite a bit of purple in this area of the picture. So I'm going to add that now too. And I'm just going to do one little section at a time, because acrylics, the difference between acrylics and watercolor is that though you can use them as a water media, in fact, when they first came out, a lot of people did. There's a little purple now. Wipe the brush, and then I'm going to just say that there's my dark purple line like this. Then I'm going to pinch the brush, and I'm using just the side of my brush, kind of wiping off the excess paint and diffusing all this out into the other. And then you just sort of almost pick it up and erase it, kind of like mopping a floor, and use the side of your brush and sort of blend all that in. And like that, okay? You see how we did that? Maybe a little more of this purple. Now you can do more layers. The difference is with acrylics, once it's dry, it's a done deal. You can paint over it, but you can't move it again. Now you could possibly take a little rubbing alcohol and move it, but mostly you can't move it again. So, all right, so what do we know for sure? Well, I know for sure that I want some of that purple down there, and I'm going to put a little bit of water on my plate, and then a tiny bit of purple like that, and kind of do this. So I have this sort of inky watercolor wash here first. Here's like that, kind of around my bottle. And I know I want it a little bit deeper than that. So here's, so that's it, got it wet. Now look how I'm using the rag here, because we're giving you kind of a close-up view of this. This can be very pretty. Now, if you were doing this on watercolor paper, you'd use a bigger brush probably. And if you wanted to make this larger, okay? But what I would caution you about, remember, acrylics won't wake up, but you can still get that sort of soft, diffused look. Now, up here, on the top part of this was more, say, ultramarine blue and water. Okay, up here. This was just very light up here. Actually, it's got a little phthalo in it, too, I think. A little phthalo. I don't know if these were windows or what this was. But here you go. You see what I'm doing here. Now, I don't want this dark. Now, the advantage of this is, I don't want it this dark. Now, I know it's going to dry slightly lighter, okay? It will dry slightly lighter than this, okay? But I'm going to add a little bit of white, and you don't have any white in watercolor. But I'm going to add a little white to this and lighten this whole thing up very quickly, like that. All right. And also, okay, so that's pretty good. And then, do I want to lighten any of this up in here? Maybe a little bit, but not too much. I think this side is a little bit darker. In fact, I might even give it a second coat of purple and phthalo blue and white. Let's try that. Phthalo blue, purple, and white. See what we get. Let's just do a little more diffusing over here and make this a little bit darker over here. Okay. Now wipe the brush. Use the side of it and just sort of blend that in. Now, if that's, you see this, if it's not blending, okay, because the paper, the thing about the paper, even with the medium on it, the medium and varnish on it, I'm going to add a little tiny bit of white to this. Even with that, it has a tendency to want to just not blend, okay? So don't spend a lot of time on this. Just work quickly. That's what I would tell you. Try to work quickly. You can do another layer if you're not happy. Remember, this is acrylic, so you can go over it again. Here, that's already dried, so I'm going to go over it again. Just do another little layer of white and kind of lighten that up a little bit, okay? Well, so that's good. And let's see, what other color do I want? Before I get too far gone here. Well, I know I want it a little bit darker under here, but I will do that later. I can go ahead and just kind of give a little outline on this table, like this, and the same here, right here on the table. My table, just a little bit of a dark outline here. Whew, how did I get all that paint on that brush? Let's just pull that off. Now, just on the edge here, like that. I'm going to say that that's our table, and I know I want it darker down here. And so this is my second coat. Okay, it's just, and what I found with the paper is that your acrylics dry darker. I mean, dry lighter. They dry lighter. Acrylics normally dry darker. They start to dry lighter. Okay. All right. So that's all we're going to do with that. And I want to just kind of give you an idea of what we're painting. Here's what we're painting. Okay. So I'm going to move these inkjet note cards out of the way and just put my other picture here so you can kind of see what we're painting. You can get an idea of what we're painting. And now I want some magenta. So let me pause and grab and get that. All right, I didn't have any magenta, but I did find some alizarin crimson, so I'm going to use that. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of white, alizarin crimson, and a little tiny bit of ultramarine blue, like that. A little tiny bit like this. Mix that. See what I'm doing? A little bit of white. Okay, now mix that. Okay, now I'm going to come along here and using the this is my top of this, and using, ooh, too much paint, so wipe it off. The minute I see that, let's get a little more magenta color, or alizarin crimson color. I'm going to come straight across here following those pencil lines. My brush stroke is up and down, okay, just like that. I don't need to go too far because this is all going to run into this flower stuff. And then I want to come over here and do the same thing and try to keep my hands out of the paint when I do it. And so just this side here has got that. There's my pencil mark. There we go, like that. So there's just this side, and there's that side, and a little bit of, so here's a little bit of purple across the top. Just pull that down. Same thing here. Okay. And, all right, it's a little bit dark. Now, I'm all in the blue color, so I'll just rinse the brush and take a little bit of dazzling purple and ultramarine blue, mix them together, and just do a fast outline of my vase here. And then say, here's the little foot of the vase. Now, just using white, I'm going to come up here and a little bit of ultramarine blue and white, right? I'm going to come up here sideways and just paint this in and make this line very thin. Do you see how I'm making that really thin? Okay, so I had a thicker line, but then I thinned it up. And then this is a very, kind of what you'd call a quick sketch of how you might do something like this. Okay, and again, I would caution you not to spend a lot of time on it. Just, if you need to reshape your vase at all like that, just come up with your paint and, reshape the vase so you've got it a little bit better. That's fine. Okay, and I know I want a little bit of a shadow here on this side of the vase. It's going to feel very watercolor because of just the way the paper is going to react to you and what you're painting. I would say that would be absolutely true. Okay, let me just move all this stuff out of the way so I have my... it helps to have this flat, okay? Now, and I would really love it if I didn't have paint all over my hands when I'm working with paper. So, new rag, okay? Now, the yellow and purple are complements, and so what happened was when this vase was created, let's put a little white highlight here on the vase. Now it's dried. What you're going to find is this stuff dries like crazy. It dries really fast, but that's okay too, right? We don't mind. It's all right if it's drying fast. This is already dry for me. And I think what I want to do on this one is just take some light blue and white, ultramarine blue and white, and just come in here like this and kind of ignore this, that. Okay, just want to ignore this, because we're not going to see that much of this. I'm going to just kind of make it a little smaller, and the same thing here. We'll make this a little thinner. Okay, like that. So those are our stripes, and everything else is going to be flowers, tables, something like that. So you can kind of see our example painting. And I might even put this painting here. Let's just put this one here so you can see this one better. I think that's even better. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. And I know that this brush is a little big for the size card I'm using. I might switch to a small angle brush like this. I might have better luck with a small angle brush. All right, so up here, this is a little tacky still. I want to just go ahead and dry that real quick, and then I'll be right back. Take a hairdryer and dry it. Okay, so this dries really quickly. I want to come up here and just draw in this larger rose that's coming down here like that in white, because yellow only paints over white. And I'm going to put another little bud here, and I've got a nice big one coming down here like that, just pure white. Okay, And I didn't leave myself a lot of room, but I've got one next to the vase that's coming here, just coming kind of in this way, a little bit lower next to the vase, and just cross over the vase a bit. And I've got something up here, got some sort of white flower up here, some sort of little white flower here. Okay, and this one, I want to make sure I've got that big enough. Now, this is titanium white, and you can even see, even with the doing that you still see a little bit of the color showing through. Now I think I want to finish the inside of this. Here's a little bit of phthalo blue, and let's put some yellow out, just some cad yellow medium, okay? Let's get some of that out, okay? And let's take a little bit of white and blue and phthalo blue and yellow and white. Tiny bit of that. Make this sort of kind of green color. And I want to just pull some leaves like this. Some of these interesting leaves that are going this way, and that's sort of almost a turquoise color, which I think is really nice. And then everything else is going to be purple and white. See a little bit of purple, kind of this light purple color that's sort of around them. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to do stuff, but I just thought I would save this little area out and say that there's this little purple stuff coming around in here like that. And I want some purple color right here. Let's take a little bit of a dark purple leaf right here. Okay, let's see, do we have any other places where I want to put some dark purple? I want a little bit of dark purple around my flowers, underneath them like this. Just barely touch them like that. Just not outline the whole thing, but suggest some purple. Okay, like that. Just little tiny dots of color. Let me zoom up here like that, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. In other words, I'm not trying to get everything that this particular artist did, and but I want to get some of it. All right, now let's take a little bit of yellow and ultramarine blue and make sort of an army green color, and come on up here like this, and just using your small little angle brush, some little leaves. Don't have to be meticulous to follow exactly what this other person did, but you know you've got some leaves on here, and it gets pretty dark green around in here and next to that, like that. So you then take a little bit of white and yellow, and right on top of this, just do a second coat. Boop, 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 boop. And again, this is going to be a note card for a friend. I want you to spend 1,600 hours on it, okay? But maybe you like that person well enough to do something personal. Here's a little sort of green flower thing that's coming this way, out this way, and we've got some green. I'm going to just show you one of the things we have here on the right. We've got some nice, pretty. It's a pretty big leaf here. And I'll take a little bit of phthalo blue and yellow and white, and give that a turquoise feeling too, like that on this side. And then let's take a little bit more yellow and phthalo blue and make this real bright green, and say here's another leaf, and maybe one coming down here like this. He's got one coming across our vase. Add some more blue and yellow and make that a little bit darker. This one on one side. How about one right here, a little bit darker? So let's take a little bit of blue, make that one darker too. And maybe we got a couple little dark leaves here like that. Okay, there you go, little dark leaves. Now what? Well, this is where it gets kind of, this is where you want to just sort of, like, maybe if I have a little outline on this leaf, right? I've got a little tiny thing like that from this flower. I'm not trying to do too much of that, but maybe down here like that, there's one. And this is some sort of little flower here. Again, I'm simplifying this quite a bit, but I'm going to say there's a leaf here and a leaf up here. There'll be another flower there. I want a brighter leaf right here, so here's some just pure yellow right on top of it. Like that, and then same thing here, some yellow right there. How about this one, little yellow right there? Some bright green somewhere, okay? And you see what we're doing, okay, is just pulling in a few flowers. You're not going to do everything in this picture, but you're going to give the feeling of this picture, all right? So I'm going to rinse the brush pretty thoroughly and wipe it off, and I'm going to take some white paint and a little bit of yellow, and I want this sort of pale yellow background here on our picture. And this is going to just paint on really well, okay, right over this. Just sort of scrub it on like that, and because we're using titanium white, it's going to, erase any fingerprints or anything you inadvertently got on here. Maybe you can reshape up your vase if you need to. And again, just sort of scribble this on. Keep this, what I would call this is keep it loose. All right, keep it really, really loose. All right, now by this time, those are pretty dry, so I'm going to take some yellow, and I want to come up here like this and just suggest some bright yellow on top of these flowers. Okay, cad yellow medium, like that. All right, and there's a little bit of bright yellow up here like that on this one before we add something else, okay? So that's all there is there. You can see that, and I think we had a little yellow one right there, okay? We're going to bring this down a bit. Now, taking a little bit of the alizarin crimson and the yellow, I can make a little orange color, and I can say that the underneath part of this flower right under here is orange. Maybe there's a little bit of a shadow on this one. 1, 2, 3, stop. A few strokes. You don't have to do that much. 1, 2, 3, stop. Like that. You're just suggesting a flower. That's all you're doing. Now we're going to come up here, the same thing here on this one, suggest a flower. Now a little bit of alizarin crimson and white. And we're going to suggest another little flower right here, a little more alizarin crimson, make it slightly darker. Little flower here. We've got another one right here, a little bud. Okay? And I added in mine, I thought I liked these red flowers, and I didn't like that he didn't have any over here. So I put a couple over here like that because I thought that that added something to it. I don't know about you guys, but I personally thought so. Then I'll take a little bit of titanium white, Here's a little white, and we're just as the advantage of acrylics. With watercolor, you can't go back with white, but with acrylics, you can. And so here's a little bit of pink on this flower, like that, okay? You can kind of see that that one's over there, and then I'll pinch my brush and take a little bit of alizarin crimson, just a tiny bit, and make this a bit darker at the base, okay? And again, don't get too caught up in this. It's really easy to do. Because the idea behind this is, and I want a little more this peach pink color in here like that. Probably too much. Let's see, where's our picture? Probably had it closer than I originally thought. Let's see. A little bit of white and purple here. I just wanted a little bit of that little peach color, that pink kind of alizarin crimson color across the bottom like that with this, okay? A little stripe on the wall, same thing here. Let's put that back. It kind of lost a little bit of it. All right, so far so good. Now we need a flower up in here, and right up here. So let's take some white, and I'm going to re-put this flower in. And let's see. Let's start with a clean brush and clean white paint. Now, when you're doing something like this, make sure you have clean white. All right, so here's some clean white. Here's some white. Here's this white flower I need to put in right here. Like that, see it? And what I love about, I want another white flower right here. What I love about acrylics, and a little bit of white one going up this way. And I have something over here too, and I'm just going to suggest it. A little white flower right there, okay? And maybe tucked under here like this, I don't know. And then I want a little bit of white across the base like this. All right, well now while that's drying, so far so good, you guys. While that's drying, I'm going to take a little bit of green, because there was a little tiny bit of green in the center of this one. Remember, yellow and probably phthalo blue, but you could use ultramarine too. A little bit of green in the center of that little flower, maybe in the center of that one. All right, a little bit of green, that doesn't hurt. Now, all right, so what can we do to sort of get the contrast so this all shows up? Okay, we need some stuff. Well, one thing we can do is put the shadow where our base is. You see let me zoom back out now and let you kind of see what we're doing. All right, now, all right. So this is a nice thing to do. My half-sister, who was 94, passed away last week. And you know, we weren't real close because we were raised by different parents, but nonetheless, I knew her and I liked her husband very much. And so I'm going to send this. I will make this into a sympathy card, and I will put some of it in the computer, and I will send this to her husband because I liked him a lot. And I'm going to come out here like this and say that there's my shadow going out from this vase. Okay, and now I'm going to take a little bit of purple, because I want it darker purple. You know, shadows are darker next to their objects, all right? And I'll just send this to him. And normally, I would just print it on the, I'd take a picture and print it. And I want it a little bit darker under here, and I want it darker under here. Your eye will go to the lightest light and the darkest dark. You guys remember that? So if you darken something, and next to a very light thing, that's where your eye is going to go first. And so that's how you can make these flowers the center of interest, if you darken the stuff up around them. So we're going to go with the second little layer of purple and darken the stuff up around them. Okay, and I'm going to add some more of these turquoise green leaves, kind of with the yellow and the phthalo blue and a little bit of white. I like these little turquoise blue green leaves here like that. I'm going to add a few more of those to this. Put one there, okay, like that, because I think that's really pretty. Again, let me zoom in and let you see it. See? And this is all this has to be. Something like this can be very fast. There was a little, I think there was let's see, ultramarine blue here. I think there was like a few, it looks to me like there was almost like a flower design on the vase. So we're going to suggest one like that. And then I'm going to suggest a little coming across here like this underneath it, a little bit of a shadow under here like this. I want to make sure I have it nice and dark in this corner here where the shadow goes. And he had a pretty good outline right here. So I'm going to re-outline this side of the vase. And this side, I'm going to give it a little bit more of an outline, like that. And take a little bit of white paint, and I want to create a little shadow here, like that, and a little more here on this side. Okay. Just sort of touch up my vase after I told you not to spend too much time on it. Well, part of me wants to do that. Then I'll take a little tiny bit of white. All right. Now here, I'll just blend that out. Now I'll put a little water on my brush, wipe it off, and then I'll take the side of it and just right on this side I'll blend that out. Then more white, wipe it off and just blend that. See, like this. And see, I can get away with some of this like this. Here we go. Here's the white on the bottom of the vase down here like this. A little bit of, don't want these to be so pronounced. So again, yes, you can play with it a little more, but I would suggest the less you did, the better. Okay, like that. So there's our vase. Kind of see, I think I want this a little rounder here. I'm going to come outside, just turn it upside down, come this way and round it. Doesn't hurt every once in a while. Just put your stuff in a mirror if you're not sure if you've got it right, and that what'll do is it'll help you see if you're kind of off. Okay. So, all right, so we've got that. Now, what else would we do with this? Anything? Well, he's got, if I'm going to just show you his, he's got, some more outlines around his, almost very dark outlines around his leaves like this. He outlined them. And again, you're doing this very quickly. You're not trying to do that. And I keep getting paint on my little finger, which... Note to self, don't put any paint up on the lip. That is just a recipe for disaster. So here's some little centerpieces to that flower, and I just curve it around like that. That little leaf here, like that. Okay, I think I'm pretty good there. I'm just kind of looking. This was very tangly up in there. He had a little bit of purple up at the top here, kind of a dark purpley color that came out of the center of this. I guess I could put a few little drops. But again, you can overdo this stuff really quick. When it's on a card like this, fast and quick is better than not. And if I want to sort of smear this out on on the vase like this. Look, I can still wake this up a bit because it's sitting on varnish. So I've just put a little water on my brush, and I'm waking this up just a bit. It's almost like I'm erasing it in this little shadow here, coming up here, a little bit of outside, a little bit of line outside here like this. There you go. Perfect. All right. I'm happy with that. And I think that that's all I would do to this. I don't think I would do a lot more. If you find that your acrylics are drawing darker, then you can go back, or lighter, you could go back and, add a couple, little dark highlights if you needed to, like some little red ones. The red was the one that I found disappeared the fastest. And I think I'm going to take some Cad Red medium, which I didn't do in the other one, because that's a nice bright red. And I'm going to just add a touch of that. And let me show you what happens when I do that. Just on these flowers here. And just a little bit here, just a little bit of Cad Red, not much. There, see how it just sort of popped it up a little bit. And if that's too much, then I'll put a little yellow over it. There you go. Okay, so don't be afraid to do a second coat of yellow. If you need to, here's this little bit like that. Reshape your rose. But there's your flowers, and that's it. And then all you have to do now. Oh yeah, he did this. I did this on this one, which I like. He had a kind of a white flower that didn't show up, and I thought a red flower would have been better. Of course I did. So I'm going to put a little bit of a red flower right here on the side like that, like it's on the table. So I'm going to keep it kind of parallel, and I'll take a little white, and I'll put over it like that. Okay. Now, let's take a little bit of a green stem maybe, and very carefully using the angle brush, I'm going to come right like this, using just the tip of it, and I'm going to add a stem, a couple leaves, like that. There's a little, I think I would like this a little longer. There you go. So make sure that you've got that. And let's see, I want a little bit of purple. I see this here, and I like the purple under the bottom of the vase. I'm going to use my little brush like that. You could probably use watercolor pens with something like this too. Would you have to use paint? But the question was, how would you do acrylics? How would you make the acrylics work? And I know one thing I have to do is change this. I want it to, I have to change this so that you can see that that's a different wall. I'm going to lighten that right up there. See that? So now you can see that's a different wall. And there was a little bit of light blue here. Let's get a little lighter than that even. Let me just wipe the brush off and try that one more time. Right in here, there was a little bit of light blue on this wall. Okay. And see, anything else I wanted to add here? Maybe some blue and purple on this wall. See, part of me, I'm telling you, I'm sending you mixed messages. I'm saying don't overwork it. And then part of me wants to just add a few more colors to this bottom part here. So that's just not all one color on the bottom wall, so it looks more painterly. But that's okay. Everybody's got their thing. And let's just kind of put our stripe back. A little thin line on our stripe. Okay, well, if you're going to do that, try to do it straight. Okay, so I didn't get it straight. So how am I going to fix that? Well, easy. I'm just going to erase the part that's not straight. Keep that going straight up and down like that. Just straighten it out. That's easy enough to do. Here we go. And how would you sign it? Well, I'd probably sign it over here, and I might even sign it, with love from Ginger. You could use a pen. You could use a paint pen, something like that. Let me just see if we got, but that's our, again, you can see, let's zoom back out. All right, here was this. Let's zoom back out. So there's kind of the picture that was inspiring us. Here's the two cards. One was done, this first one was done right on the paper, and the results, it's okay, but I got better results, I feel, at using the, taking the paper and using the gloss medium and varnish on it, and then adding the paint, letting that dry and adding the paint. I think it was easier to paint on. I mean, this is okay, but this one was easier to paint on. Sometimes that's exactly what you want to do. I might take a, I'm seeing a couple things. I want to put a little down here, a few little green leaves off the bottom of that, like that. But, pretty much I'm done. And I was happy to do it, and it was fun to do. And I hope you have fun. Again, these were like little note cards. When this dries completely, I might give it another top coat of varnish to protect it, and that gives them something to frame if they want to, something to remember and frame. I'm seeing where I might want another, I'm just looking at this, seeing where I might want another, take some alizarin crimson and white, as long as I'm playing here. Maybe a little bit of, okay, I think I want a little red flower right here, which I'm going to put one there, see? So sometimes you can just look at that and say, what else could I do that would improve it? Yeah, maybe another one here too. I'm going to put another one here, a little bit darker. Okay, so that's our kind of what we did for today, and I think it kind of worked out. Do I have it dark enough? You see where I signed it with the pen here, over here. I think the signature, it would be better over to the right. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see it, because there's kind of a little bit of a glare. And you see how it's pretty light here? You see it's kind of light here? Almost feel like I could take the paintbrush, now that it's dry, because I told you it dries lighter. Unlike your other acrylics, it's going to dry lighter. So I'm going to take a larger brush, and I just want to take a little bit of white and phthalo blue, and I want it a little bit darker down here. A little more white, but I want it a little bit darker down in here, so that this this wasn't really dark enough for me. And here's even a little ultramarine blue. There, okay, I just needed a little more blue down in here, like that. And so, give it a, walk away from it a little bit and then see how it worked. See, I just felt like it needed a little more paint there. And, because as it dried, it just sort of disappeared on me. And let's see, anything else I can do as I'm looking at this now. Because it's just, maybe a little bit of dark purple right in here. Something darker right there. A couple little dark ones. Little dark lines, right? A couple little dark, there. Perfect. Because we had that little dark leaf here. A little bit, just didn't quite, kind of lost my dark stuff. Okay? All right, I'm happy now. I'll quit. All right, I'll sign it and send it to my brother-in-law in California and send his condolences. Susie was 94, and she had a happy life. She didn't die of any particular illness. She just kind of moved on. So, I'm just sorry, because I never got to spend that much time with her. But like I say, we were done to two different families. So here we go. She was the third family that my dad had interactions with, as far as there was a family before her. I think they're all gone. I'm going to darken this up here too. You're going, oh, she's never finished. But, look, it just takes a second. I'm looking at this going, I need to darken it up right down here in the corner like that. That makes me happy. And, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So she's going, oh, she goes. But I want a light green because, again, depending on the layers, acrylics on paper, now here's the trick, acrylics on paper dry lighter, but acrylics on other acrylics dry darker. Does that make sense? So I want this to be, that leaf to be a little lighter so it shows up. See, I want those leaves to be lighter. There, okay, better, makes me happier. Do I want anything here? Yeah, a little bit lighter right there too. Okay, I'm happy. I'll stop. Thanks for watching. Listen, this was a lot of fun. My daughter, Cinnamon, the art Sherpa, has done a lot of different watercolor techniques and actually how to do watercolor on paper. She and I said we would do this together. I'm going to talk about her again. Pop over to the art Sherpa, see some of her watercolor techniques if you want to. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think you might enjoy that. And I'm going to shoot a separate intro for this and talk about it again. I always do that at the beginning, see if I need to change anything on this picture. But I think if you want to do some note cards, and I'll show you again, these were just called inkjet cards. They go in your printer, glossy surface. They really look better. They work better if you're going to paint on them. because here's the one I did without treating the surface, and I had a lot of trouble. Everything wanted to stick and kind of went crummy on me. Then when I used the varnish, that's my highlight for that. Please do that, and likes and comments are helpful, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Thanks, you guys. Bye.